Melanie, why are you single? Why are you single? Why are you still single? Why? You seem so cool. You seem so nice. Yeah, I am. I would rather be single the rest of my life than marry a mediocre man.
What makes you so worthy of the type of men that you want to have? Why would they choose you over whoever it is they're choosing? Because they're choosing somebody. They're just not choosing you, right? Again, no animosity towards this lady, but seriously. And you say you'd rather be alone. Is that true? Do you really mean that? I don't think so. Because I see a lot of videos of ladies, then later on they might say it now, but then when they get home and there's nobody there to hold them and they have nobody to talk to besides their girlfriends or their dog or their cat, when they hear a noise in the middle of the night of somebody might be trying to break into their home, when it's a cold day and you can't leave the house and all you get is just to sit alone and watch TV and eat popcorn, you're not going to feel as confident as you're feeling right now. You are going to feel lonely when you have nobody to hold you, when you have nobody to wake up next to. It's just reality. And for guys, it's different because guys have always been alone. Okay, been alone, lived alone, died alone. There's nothing new about that for a guy. Guys don't care so much about that. So this whole thing about that I rather be alone, it's just total lies. It's total lies. She's lying to herself. She's lying to the camera. But what happens is that she's just going to continue to have more people come up to her and tell her how great she is and keep blowing up her ego. And she's going to think so highly of herself that nobody's going to be good enough for her. The more guys that she turns away, the more superior she feels on the inside by doing that. Even if it was the right guy, she's going to try to find the flaws so that she can do that elimination process. So some people started roasting her in the comments after she posted this. So she responded to one of those comments.
This is so funny because this is like a perfect example of the difference between men and women. No, I don't need someone with money. If they have money, cool. No, I care about is emotional intelligence, empathy, kindness, working hard. Awesome. If you have money, great. Don't really need it. Well, don't need someone to be rich.
I'm glad she corrected herself because a lot of these girls that say that it's not about the money, you wouldn't date a broke guy.
And that's just the biggest difference between men and women. Men think that I'm looking for someone that's wealthy and way up here in the society. No, I'm actually asking for someone who I don't have to teach how to be a decent human being.
This is the part that I'm not understanding. She thinks that she's in a position to teach somebody how to be a good human being.
And apparently that's very difficult to find nowadays because of men like this and men all in my comments. I'm like, if you're offended by this post, then you perceive yourself as a mediocre man.
It's not that I'm offended by your post, and I think most people are not. They're just trying to give you a dose of reality and tell you, hey, you got to check yourself. What you're saying doesn't make sense. You can think whatever you want about yourself, but reality is already showing you that you're wrong. Certainly, the type of man you want, it does exist, but he's not looking for you. He's not choosing you. Otherwise, that will reflect in your reality. We will be able to see that you would already be with such a man. You cannot honestly say that those men do not exist. So when people are commenting for that, even the guy that said she's waiting for the dude with a private jet, he's not wrong, and he's not offended. Men are not offended by your comment. And here's another example of that.
I think one of the reasons that me and so many women in their 30s are single is because we don't want to train men. I was talking to my girlfriend the other day about this guy that I've been talking to who isn't quite acting as I would expect. And she was like, oh, that's trainable. That's not necessarily a deal breaker. Sometimes they just need a little bit of coaching. What if I don't want to be a coach? Why have we normalized training men? Why would I want to be with someone who I have to teach how to treat me?
So again, same argument, same inflated ego, same position of authority that has not been granted to you. What makes you think that you are in a position to train a man? There is a difference between sharing your boundaries, sharing some of your expectations, sharing of some of your preferences, and training somebody. And the reason she feels that way and she says that is because she looks down on men. And she doesn't understand that the reason she feels this way and she's had this experience, it's because that's the type of man that she's qualified for. And she's not attracting the guys that are already put together and that would be more suitable for her preferences. She's attracting guys that are just not up to par. And that's a reflection of herself that she needs to work on. And I can tell you right now, it's because of how inflated her ego is as well and how her attitude is towards men. She sees men as deficient without stopping to think, why am I attracting men who have all these shortcomings, who are perhaps not insightful or respectful or can't read the room or whatever the issue is? She'd just rather talk about men like if they're dogs that need to be trained. And the thing is that then they continue to then self-assure themselves by saying, well, I'm fine alone. I don't need him anyway. I don't need no man. And when reality hits them, it gets ugly.
I didn't have to be trained. I have so many amazing girlfriends who didn't have to be trained. So why are we okay with the idea that we have to train our boyfriends? Now, I'm not saying that relationships don't take communication. Obviously, if you have expectations of your partner, you have to make them known. But I think the idea of training men is a modern day way of saying, I can change him. And I think that leads women to settle.
Now that she has a point, okay, I give her some points for that. There's a difference between, again, we're talking about three different scenarios, okay? There's a difference between sharing your boundaries, sharing your expectations in a healthy way, normal expectations we're talking about. Then you have this concept of training that she's talking about. And now the other thing is when you are actually with a person and you're seeing their traits and you don't like them and then you think that you're going to have any effect in changing that for them, then yeah, that's also wrong. You can work with somebody and adapt to each other, but you cannot change anybody. People can only change for themselves if they're even able to, because that's hard as it is.
If I wanted to train something, I would get a dog.
Well, and a dog is probably a more suitable partner for you based on how you behave. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the other hand when they get to the end of the road and all this inflated sense of self gets completely smacked with reality. Then they're out there crying in their car alone because reality sets in and they realize that they keep getting older and their friends are all going away to live their lives. Maybe they're already having kids, and now when reality hits, it's gonna hit hard. And if you have disdain towards men, if you're a woman, it's gonna be very difficult for you to find a suitable relationship, a stable relationship that is going to work out in the long run. And the same goes for men. If you have disdain towards women in general, it's going to be very hard for you to find a suitable girlfriend to have a relationship with. You have to understand that in order to find a good relationship, you're going to have to look within and deal with some of your own things and change your perspectives so that you'll have more clarity when you find the right person and you know how to better approach that person and how to approach the relationship itself. So let me know what you think about this video. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share, and I will see you on the next one.